So it appears to be a 3-horse race for 2 Champions League spots as we enter the final double match day. Who's going to be sitting pretty at the end of the season? We'll talk about it next. That's right, folks, back once again with another match. That's right, folks, back once again with another match. That's right, folks, back once again with another prediction video. Today, we're taking a look at match number 37. In the Premier League. We'll get to it in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button. It can be bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, world football related. We're going to know here, boys. Under one, Rooski, that's right. Final whistle has gone at, where was it? Selhurst Park. Of course, Manchester United have got themselves a win. Not the best performance by them. I think a little bit, Crystal Palace were a little bit hard done by, but final score has gone. So that means get cracking with the predictions. And we'll get to that in a second. Of course, I want a big shout out, oh yeah, to the Patreons. Respect to my Patreon gang. You know who you are. There are 11 of you. Can there be 12? You could make yourself number 12 if you want to get into it. Check out the description down below. That is patreon.com/Roverseas. Support the channel, boys, in another way, just like William Shepherd, Elgin Cow, Cody Ho, Daniel Ella, Bianca Muller, Joachim Johansson, Tom Mercer, and his mucker, Tom Clark, John Spurn, the legend, of course, Russell Frost, Aztec Marky Big Mark. Respect to all of them, supporting the channel as they do behind the scenes. They get some exclusive content. They had a little bit of that last week. They're going to get more of it next week as well. We're going to be very, very busy, patrons and all that kind of stuff. So let's take a look at the old Hoogle flips. And what do I mean by that? I'm on about predictions, folks. Predictions. Let's take a look at it. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here's the Premier League, of course. The criteria 0 to 3, you're in the shit-face gang. 4 to 6, you're in the shit-face club. 7 plus, that's top banana. So, all the way back, I don't know when it was. When was it? It was all the way back on Wednesday, the 15th of July. It was a bit of a tasty one, this one. It was Arsenal. They took on the champions, of course. Liverpool. Let me just move myself up a little bit. It ended up as a was it 3-2, something like that? 2-1 final score. Goals on that day, Lacazette and Reece Nelson on score sheet for the Gunners. The one and only goal for Liverpool, that's Sadio Mane. They actually took the lead on this one. Not far for me. I went with a 2-2 draw in this one. I thought Arsenal could get something out of it, but I didn't think they'd get the win. But credit to them. And credit to Wolves. 1-1 draw against them. 6-finger freakazoids. Burnley, that's right. Wolves actually took the lead. The 76th minute, Raul Jimenez giving Wolves the lead. And it was a late penalty. Chris Wood, the dingle, banged that one home to make it all square. Chelsea, of course, they kept winning. 1-0 win for them over Norwich. I actually went with the 2-1 win for the Freaks, but yeah, Chelsea 1-0 win. The only goal, Oliver Giroud, knows where the back of the net is. 2-1 for me. Not too shabby. Crystal Palace, they lost to Manchester United. We already talked about it already. 2-0. Rashford, Martial on the score sheet. Actually went with a 3-0 win for United. So not bad on that bad boy goals there. I was told about that. Everton 1, Aston Villa 1. Bit of an opportunity missed there for Villa. Konza on the score sheet for Aston Villa. Theo Walcott on the score sheet for Everton late on that one. 1-1. Actually went the 2-1 for the Toffees. So wrong. Leicester City, they beat Sheffield United 2-0 in the end. Perez and Amari Gray on the score sheet on that one. I tried to watch that one. Fell asleep. But I watched. I saw the action. Of course, Manchester City did beat 2-1 for the Leicester game on that bad boy. Manchester City did beat Bournemouth 2-1. A scrappy affair there. David Silva and Gabriel Jesus on the score sheet for Manchester City. David Brooks on the score sheet for Bournemouth. Actually went with a 4-0 win for City on that one. So not too bad. Newcastle, they lost to Spurs, of course, at home. 3-1 final score on this one. These were all taking place, the majority of these taking place on, of course, Wednesday the 15th of July. Harry Kane in the brace. Sung Young Min as well on the score sheet for Spurs. Matt Ritchie on the score sheet for Newcastle. Southampton, they only, I went with the 2-1 win for Spurs on that one. Southampton and Brighton. 1-1 final score on that bad boy. I actually went with the 2-1 win for Southampton. The goals on that one was Neil Maupay and Danny Ings. Knows where the back of the net is, of course. And wrapping it up, it will be West Ham against Watford. I don't know about that one because it's not happened yet. But because of the way of the beast, I've got to get these predictions out nice and early. I'm going with a 0-0 draw on that one. Cannot separate the two sides. So, as it stands, I'll tell you, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is not too shabby, boys and girls. Not too shabby. This is the situation out in the table at the moment. Of course, Liverpool are running away with it. 18 points clear of Manchester City. Leicester are in third at the moment. 1 point clear of Leicester, who are level on points with Manchester United. And it looks like Wolves could still maybe challenge. We'll take a look at the fixtures in a minute, but I don't think they can. Neither can Spurs or neither can Sheffield United or Arsenal. They're all really competing for Europa League action. At the foot of the table, Norwich are down. That's confirmed. Villa and Bournemouth are 3 points away from Watford and Bournemouth with 2 to play. Of course, Watford and West Ham will be duking it out tomorrow or today, depending on when this goes out. It looks like Brighton are just out of the cusps. They could still get sucked into it, but Bournemouth or Villa have to win both. That's right, to get themselves out of it. So Brighton on the cusps, West Ham, Watford, of course, it'll be a much clearer story after their match against each other. A draw would put them 4 points clear with 6 on the table. You'd think that they'd be able to do it, but we'll have to see. So before we get into your predictions, I want to remind you next season we can do up the Prediction League. What's that? Well, the Prediction League is where you do what you do right now, do your predictions, and of course you'll be judged and scored and ranked amongst your fellow predictors. Let's see who is the best predictor out in the Premier League, and the winner will get a nice t-shirt or a bit of memorabilia free of charge. And also you'll also get week by week sort of kudos to becoming the Prediction King for that week. We'll talk all about it. In fact, the earliest you can see the Prediction League in action will be when we do the first ever Scottish predictions, which is a spoiler exclusive. We're going to be doing the new season week by week Scottish predictions on the channel. So that's when we'll debut the Prediction League in that league. So let's take a look at you guys. Well, Ash, where are you, Ash? Well, that's the patrons get flashing there. So Ash did very, very well. Liam Martin, not too shabby. Classic Rohan 555, top 6 clubs 5 Limbu FC football. He did pretty well. Brad Petford, not too shabby. Harry Coggins did gash. Miles A did okay. Riz Ratish did pretty well for himself. Uchupuku Nkunwungu did very, very well with an edit. Ali Walla did shit. Mohamed Rafi, not too shabby. Rafi or Jared, not too bad. The Italian Stallion did shit. Horse shit, should I say. Stallion shit. Charlie Pagdam, he did pretty well. Lee Cummings, not absolute turd. Austin Murphy, not too shabby. Taro, he did pretty poop. Ryan Gasher, Shetteruni. Costas K, pretty well. Fabian Gayaway, not too bad. Marion MJ, the one and only, I think, top banana. Well done, you. Matt, Mr. Ross did okay. Kim Sanderson back with a prediction. She did okay. Irma Chinrina Dinonosa Isa did okay. Shane O'Donnell, not too shabby. Devante Caprice, not too bad. Will Hayes did shit. Jacob, you handsome legend. He is a legend. He is a legend. Because he is a Patreon. Why don't you join him? He did shit. Vincent Hung did very, very well. Not too shabby. Who else do we have? D3MZ, or Z to us English. Not too shabby. Football Mapper, not too... did shit. Jaden FC did okay. Bianca Muller, legend. And she did poo this week. Ish Boss did shite. Christian Ajevic did shit. Champ Dude, he did champ and he did okay. Luke Kajanovic, not too shabby. LG and Cow, respect to you, Patron Ladio. He did very, very well as well. Schmucky did pretty good without an edit as well. Zahin Achmo did shit with an edit. Chelsea for Life did shit. Brilliant Builder, he did alright. Harrison Crane, not too shabby. Yannick Buslow, not too bad as well. The Aston Villa Seal, he did okay. Football predictions, he knows what he's talking about. Nathan Calsal did okay. Roberto Hollis, not too shabby. And Morden did very, very well. Anyone on here did very, very well. Moving forward, Kuyub did shit. Guna Maris did top banana. Okay, there is another one. Shepherd the legend, William Shepherd, did also very, very well. And he is a patron as well. Russell Frost, legend of the game. And he also did very, very well this week. So good to the boys. I screwed them over the past couple of weeks, but they did very well this time out. Yeah, for the MVP, not too shabby. And of course, Cody Ho, legend as well, with his Piccadickaroonies. Van Manyo did shit. Tom Ellis did okay. Rajit Kaur did okay. Moving into the final stretch here, James AVFC, not too shabby. Fatma Abrime, not too shabby, did shit. King Dash, not did gash, he did okay. And Oli Hambling, not too bad. So let's get into the penultimate games then, I guess. Potentially the final home games for some teams, I guess. We're going to jump in the deep end with, of course, Bournemouth up against Southampton. Battle of the South Coast, this bad boy. Does take place on Sunday, the 19th of July. Of course, there is the FA Cup games going on there. Make sure you check out DigiCast's predictions on them bad boys. Anyway, the last 6 encounters between two sides. 1 win for Bournemouth, 1 win for Southampton, and 4 draws between two sides. They played at the St Mary's early in the season. It was a 3-1 win for Bournemouth. That's right, Nathan Aki, Harry Wilson and Callum Wilson on the score sheet for the Cherries. James Ward-Prowse on the score sheet for Southampton. The last time they played at the Vitality, it was a 0-0 draw. In fact, 3 games unbeaten between Bournemouth, for Bournemouth over Southampton, winning 1 and drawing 2. Bournemouth have actually failed to win 10 of the last 11 matches in the Premier League. And as it stands, they look like they're going down. But heading into this, just one defeat for them at the past 3. That was against Manchester City. Meanwhile, Southampton are on a nice little run of 5 games unbeaten. The bookmakers' odds on this bad boy, let's take a closer look at it, shall we? Is 30-10 for Bournemouth, 30-5 is your draw, and 9-5 is your away win, which is Southampton. Southampton coming to this 12th in the table. A win for them could see them up to 49 points, which would be above Everton potentially, and a win for Bournemouth, which would be massive. Could mathematically see them above West Ham and Watford. Of course, they've got a game in hand, so we just don't know. For me, though, I am actually going to give it to the Cherries on this one. I don't really want to see them go down, but I think they will. So 2-1, I don't think it's going to be good enough. In the air, next up the battle of the A's, it's Aston Villa up against Arsenal. Coming at you on Tuesday, the 21st of July, over at Villa Park. The last 6 encounters see 0 wins for Villa, 0 draws, and 6 out of 6 for Arsenal, including 3-2 win at the Emirates early in the season, with Pepe, Chambers, and Aubameyang on the score sheet for Arsenal, John McGinn and Wesley on the score sheet for Aston Villa. In fact, Arsenal actually won this game with 10 men for the vast majority of the game. Heading into this, the last time they played at Villa Park was a 2-0 win back in 2015. Giroud and Ramsey on the score sheet for Arsenal, of course, no longer Arsenal players. Heading into this, Aston Villa unbeaten in 2, picking up a win against Crystal Palace, and of course a draw against Everton. So they're grinding out the results. Meanwhile, just one defeat the past 5 for Arsenal. That was against Spurs, Mourinho's boys, and co. Aston Villa actually failed to win 11 of the last 12 matches. We talked about that already. The bookmakers' odds on this one. What you got on this bad boy? The bookmakers' odds. The bookmakers' odds, 5-2 for Aston Villa, 5-1 is your draw. Sorry, 3-1 is your draw. 11-10 for Arsenal. The away victory, Arsenal coming to this 9th in the table, a win for them. Could see them rise up to 6th. A win for Aston Villa in 19th. Could see them mathematically rise above West Ham in 16th, depending on what goes on in the battle of the W's tonight, whatever it is. I'm going with Villa. Yeah, surprise one this one. I think they're starting to realise what's on the offer here, because they need results. And again, I like Villa. I think they belong in the Premier League. Sometimes it's funny. It is funny when you see the big clubs go down. And it was funny seeing Aston Villa go down. It was. And it was funny seeing Leeds go down way back when. And I think now's the time Leeds should get promoted. They've been suffering far too long. I know they're smarmy little bastards and all that kind of stuff, and hopefully they'll get their ass handed to them on the plate next season in the Premier League. But I still believe Aston Villa belong in the Premier League. They are a club that belongs in the Premier League. And I also think, no disrespect, or no, not wearing tinted glasses or anything, but I think Blackburn Rovers belong in the Premier League. When you look at the Premier League these days and you look at like the Burnley, they do not belong in the Premier League. Norwich, not really. Who else? Who else would you say is in the not really? Bournemouth, to be honest with you, I don't think they belong in the Premier League. I don't think Brighton belong in the Premier League. And I think there are certain clubs that belong in the Premier League. Leeds are one of them, Villa and Blackburn Rovers are one. And you'd even go to the point of saying Sunderland belong in there as well, and probably even Bolton. So there are clubs that I think that should be back in there, and there are clubs definitely outstaying their welcome. But Villa Park, Aston Villa should be in the Premier League, and hopefully they do it. But I see them grinding out a result, and it'll make it a very interesting last day, of course. Next up, we have Brighton. They're going to be taking on, of course, Newcastle United. Brighton, I think they've just about done it. They're just about there. I think a point will do it in the final 2 games. They're taking on the 2, and of course the last 6 encounters see 2 wins for Brighton, 1 win for Newcastle, and 3 draws, including a draw at St James's Park back in September. In fact, it's been back-to-back draws between the 2 sides, and the last time a victory came out on top was at St James's Park, and it was in fact Brighton. Brighton are actually unbeaten in 5 games against Newcastle in all competition restriction all the way back to 2017. Heading into this, Brighton actually conceded at least 3 goals in the last 3 home matches in the Premier League, whereas they come into this, Newcastle just 1 win in the past 6. That was against Bournemouth at the start of July. Same can be said for Brighton, 1 win in the past 6. That was a 1-0 win against Norwich early in the month of July. The bookmakers' odds on this one, it's going to be a tight one. It smells like a draw, if I'm honest with you. 20-17 for Brighton. That is on. 12-5 is your draw. 10-3 is your away win for Newcastle. Newcastle coming to 13th in the table. A win for them could see them up to 11th above Everton in the old Premier League. And if a win for Brighton in 15th mathematically would make them safe as houses. I am actually going to go with a 1-0 win for Brighton on this one. It does smell like a draw, and if I'm honest with you, if I was going to be a gambling man, I would probably bet a draw on this one. But I'm going to go with a 1-0 just because. Next up, we have a bit of a tasty one, and this one usually is a bit of a Bobby Dazzler at whenever it is in the season, but really it's taking the sting out of it. It's going to be a massive game, of course, for Chelsea. They need to win it. It's Chelsea, Liverpool down at Anfield, of course, the champions. The last 6 encounters see 3 wins for Liverpool, 2 wins for Chelsea, and 1 draw. They played at Stamford Stamford Bridge in the FA Cup early in the season. It was a 2-0 win for Chelsea. They also played in the Premier League at Stamford Bridge, and it was a 2-1 win for Liverpool. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Firmino on the score sheet, Kante on the score sheet for Chelsea. In fact, it's just been one win at the past. Nah, it's not really. That's a shit stat. Liverpool actually undefeated in the last 56 home matches in the Premier League. Goodness gracious me. They come into this, not the greatest form for Liverpool. Actually, 2 wins at the past 5, and that was against Aston Villa and Brighton. Meanwhile, Chelsea just won defeat the past 4. That was against Sheffield United in the Premier League. Bookmakers odds on this one. They'll probably go with Liverpool on this. It's going to be tight. I can't even see the odds on this one. Where are the odds? Interesting. Don't know. I really don't know the odds because I can't see them. I'll probably say it'd be going with Liverpool on this. Maybe because Chelsea have got a game ahead in the FA Cup. But anyway, a win for Chelsea in third would put them up to 66 points. And that would be... could possibly, it would keep them in the mix and in the driving seat for Champions League football next season. I'm going to go with, though, a victory for Liverpool, of course, 4-2, 6-goal bonanza. That's what we need, folks. We need a bit of a Bobby Dazzler, and I see this. This would liven up the Champions League race, of course. Next up, we have Manchester United up against West Ham. Of course, West Ham clinging for their lives. It's the David Moyes derby. That's right, down at Old Trafford. The last 6 encounters between these two sides sees 3 wins for United, 2 wins for West Ham, and 1 draw. They did play at the Hammers Stadium, wherever that is in London, earlier in the season. It was a West Ham win, 2-0 win over Manchester United. Yarmolenko and Cresswell on the score sheet. However, the last time they played at Old Trafford was a 2-1 win for United. Paul Pogba with a brace, both of them were penalties, and Philip Anderson on the score sheet as well. So United have actually just won once of the past 4 games between themselves and United, and that was that 2-1 win. Heading into this, United actually undefeated their last 11 matches in the Premier League, and they've also scored at least 2 goals in the last 5 home matches as well. They're coming to this 4 wins at the past 5. Meanwhile, West Ham just won defeat the past 4. Of course, they're taking on Watford before this match, so it could be another win in the column for them. Meanwhile, the odds on this one, 4-1 on for Manchester United, and 92 is your draw, 11-1 is your away win, which is West Ham. West Ham coming to 16th at the table. They are 3 points clear of the drop zone at the moment, but a win could see a rise above Brighton, and probably, in fact, will secure themselves safety. Meanwhile, Manchester United coming to this 5th in the table. Win for them could see mathematically rise up to 3rd. Going to give it to them as well, 2-1 win. They'll rise into the Champions League spots with that victory. Next up, we have Norwich up against Burnley. Of course, Norwich not really had much joy of late, but the last 6 encounters between themselves and them Freaks, it's been 2 wins for them, 2 wins for the Freaks, and 2 draws. They played at Carrow Road in the FA Cup. It was a 2-1 win for Norwich. Goodness gracious me, respect to my brothers, but they also played in the Premier League at Carrow sorry, let's backtrack. They did play in the FA Cup at Turdmore, and it was a victory for Norwich, 2-1. Grant Hanley, once a Rover, always a Rover, and Joseph Dummich on the score sheet for Norwich. Peter's got the only goal for the Freaks. Meanwhile, they did play in the league at the Turdmore as well. And it was a goal for the Kiwi. Both of them, Chris Wood, 2-0. Meanwhile, heading into this, Norwich have actually lost their last 8 matches in the Premier League. They've also failed to score in 7 of the last 8 matches as well. Coming into this, 6 out of 6, they've just lost. But if there was ever a time to win, it is now. Up against the team that's only won once in the past 4, that was Burnley's victories over West Ham, but they're unbeaten in a long while. That is Burnley. They've drawn a few and they've won quite a bunch as well, so they're looking quite solid and content at the moment. Anyway, heading into this, the bookmakers' odds is 11-5 for Norwich, 11-5 is your draw, 5-4 on, or 5-4 is your victory for the Freakazoids. Freakazoids come into this 10th of the table, and win for them could see them rise up to 8th. Goodness gracious me, a win for Norwich in 20th would put them up to 24 points. That's all I can say about that. I'm going to give it to them, though. I'm going to give it to a win for the Canaries. They need a win, and they're going to get it now. That's right. Next up, we have Sheffield United up against Everton. Sheffield United, of course, what did they do? They lost. They lost to Leicester, of course. But the last 4 encounters between themselves and Everton sees 1 win for Sheffield United, 2 wins for Everton, and 1 draw. They played at Goodison earlier. It was a 2-0 win for Sheffield United. That's right, Yerry Mina with a big fat OG and Mousset on the score sheet as well. However, the last time they played at Bramall Lane was back in 2007. It was a 1-1 draw. Robert Hulse on the score sheet for United. And Mikel Arteta, of all people, scoring for the Premier League for the Toffees. Heading into this, Sheffield United actually won their last 4 home matches in the Premier League, so they'll fancy their chances on this one. The bookmakers' odds, 11-10 for Sheffield United, 11-5 is your draw, 5-2 is your away win. That is Everton. Everton coming in this 11th of the table. To win for them, push them up to 49 points. A win for Sheffield United in 8th could push them up to 57 points. Potentially that would be 6th in the table, boys. 6th in the table. I'm going to give it an all square on this one. Ancelotti's boys are very tight to beat sometimes. Sheffield United might have gone off the boil because of that defeat against Leicester, which ruled them out of any Champions League endeavours. Into the final 3 here. Now we've got Spurs up against Leicester. This one's a bit of a Bobby Dazzler. Of course, Mourinho in charge of Spurs. Up against, of course, Rodgers, Leicester. The last 6 encounters sees 4 wins for Tottenham, 2 wins for Leicester, Leicester, 0 draws. They played at King Power early in the season. It was a 2-1 win for Leicester. Pereira and Madison on the score sheet for Leicester. Harry Kane on the score sheet for Spurs. However, Leicester played at the Fancy Pants New Stadium in Tottenham. It was a 3-1 win for Spurs. That was back in February 2019. Spurs have actually won their last 3 home matches in the Premier League, whereas Leicester have actually failed to win their last 7 away matches into this. But it's just 1 defeat the past 4 for Leicester. That was against Bournemouth. 4-1 they got spanked by them. Meanwhile, just 1 defeat the past 6 for Spurs. That was a 3-1 win for Sheffield United. Heading into this, of course, the bookmakers' odds on this bad will taking place on the 19th of July. 5-4 for Spurs, 23-10 is the draw, and 11-5 is your away win for Leicester. Leicester come into this, of course, 4th in the table. A win for them would push them up to 65 points, and Champions League football should be secured with that one, I think. It still could be on the fates. Meanwhile, a win for Spurs in 7th could see him rise above Wolverhampton Wanderers into 6th. I'm going to give it to Mourinho. That's right, 2-1 win for them. Spurs, yes. Next up, we have Watford up against Manchester City. Now, of course, Watford really need to beat West Ham because they are not going to win this one. Heading into this, of course, the last 6 encounters between two sides see 0 wins for Watford, 0 draws, and 6 out of 6 for Manchester City, including an 8-0 fixture at wherever it was, the Etihad early in the season. Bernardo Silva with a hat-trick, Otamendi, De Bruyne, Mahrez, Aguero, David Silva, all on the skill sheet in an 8-0 demolition. They also spanked them 6-0 in the FA Cup final last season, of course. The last time they played at Vicarage Road, though, was a 2-1 win for City as well. Sane and Mahrez on the score sheet with Tukaru on the score sheet for Watford. Heading into this, City have actually won the last 3 matches in the Premier League, 3 out of 3. In fact, it's 4 wins out of the past 5 for them. Meanwhile, back-to-back wins for Watford after 2-1 wins over Norwich and Newcastle United. Will they make it a 3-peat against West Ham? We'll have to wait and see what comes out of that one, out of the wash. Meanwhile, the bookmakers' odds on this one, 10-1 for Watford. Long shots, 11-2 is your draw. 92 on is your Manchester City. They are nailed on. Of course, second spot, they can't lose that, or they can't even gain further that either. Meanwhile, win for Watford in 17th will put them up to 37 points, and you'd think mathematically safe. Going to go with, of course, a Manchester City victory on this one. No way, Jose. Can my little soft spot for Watford get the victory on this one? And then wrapping it up, Wolves up against Crystal Palace. It's a nice one, this one, on Monday the 20th of July. Last 6 encounters, he's 1 win for Wolves, 4 wins for Palace, and 1 draw. They played at Selhurst Park early in the season. It was a 1-1 draw. Did not go with a big fat OG. Diego Jota with the equaliser. Roman Sass got himself sent off for that one. However, the last time they played at Molineux was a 2-0 win for Palace. That's right, Jordan Ayew and Milivojevic from the penalty spot for Palace. Heading into this, Palace actually lost the last 5 matches in the Premier League, whereas Wolves have actually kept a clean sheet in 5 of the last 6 home matches as well. Palace have also failed to score in the last 3 away matches heading into this, so it's 6 defeats out of 6 for Palace, whereas Wolves just 1 win in the past 4. That was against Everton, 3-0 at Molineux. Heading into this, though, the bookmakers' odds 20-9 on for Wolves, 3-1 is your draw. 7-1 is your Crystal Palace victory. Palace into this in 14th spot. A win for them could see them up to 45 points. Leapfrog Newcastle in the process. Whereas a win for Wolves in 6th. They're still mathematically got an outside shot of Champions League football, but a win would actually put them up to 59 points. And maybe, just maybe, what have I gone for Leicester? Leicester losing. And then, you know what? Hang on a minute. Ooh. Goodness me. Yes. Leicester taking Spurs and taking on Manchester United. Wolves have got a chance here, boys. Wolves have a flipping chance to get top 4. They do have a chance. In fact, do they have a chance? Manchester United need to lose against West Ham, realistically. Goal difference is massive as well. So no, they don't really. I think Chelsea look nailed on right now. The only team that could burst Chelsea's bubble is Leicester or Manchester United. But Leicester have got Spurs and they've got Man United. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for them to get any more points as it is. 62 points. United will leapfrog them in the process. Let's take a look at it, actually. This is what the table would look like. I'm going with a 3-1 win for Wolves on that one. But this is what the table would look like after these predictor news come on in. It'll be Liverpool leading the way, Manchester City in 2nd, United up to 3rd, Chelsea into 4th, of course, losing out. And then Chelsea then Leicester City in 5th, with Wolverhampton Wanderers in 6th. they would be 4 points adrift and they would be out of the contention as well. Spurs 7th, blah, blah, blah. Down the foot of the table, it will be Norwich. They will be down. Aston Villa, Bournemouth will be still alive. Watford and West Ham will also still be in the relegation matter. But of course, we do not know what happens in the other game. If it's a draw, they'll be on 35 points. And then we'd have a very, very fruity last game of the season with West Ham, Watford still looking over the shoulders. I don't know. Let me have I'm showing a quick scan ahead because I'm cheeky like that. So Wolves would, Watford would take on Arsenal. Tough. West Ham would take on Aston Villa. That's straight shootout right there. And Bournemouth would be taking on. I can't see you. Bournemouth, Everton away. Very, very, very difficult last few games. Of course, you can catch all those Predicoroonies probably a Wednesday after the old midweek. It's because these matches are scattered over the next few days. So make sure you stick around for that. Be sure to get your own predictions nice and early for this bad boy. And we'll do it all again for one last time as we enter the final match day of the Premier League season. Hopefully your team's doing very, very well. Unless you're Burnley, then screw you sons of bitches. But I'll be back very, very soon. Of course, give this video some love. Smash the thumbs up. Smash the subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Good luck. Stay safe. Mask up, 6 foot, all that. Let's go. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, football related. We've got it all covered right under one roof. And while I still have you, please be sure to check out some of the old videos scattered along here. I hope.